Hello and welcome back to episode 9 of Working with Spirit. My name is Sarah, founder of Crystal Nutrition. I am a spiritual, intuitive, energy healer, and holistic nutritionist. And this is a weekly series where I come on here and we hang out for about 20 minutes. We take a look at the upcoming energies for the week, and I give you one tangible thing that you can do energetically to help you integrate or navigate the energies ahead. So let's get into it. We are back at our home base this week. Last week we had a beautiful outdoor tree, ancient ancestral roots, grounding, healing vibe going on. And this week we are back right where we usually are, right where we started, I want to say. So the themes are, well, first of all, we're looking ahead for energies of the week of Sunday, August 2nd, all the way until Saturday, August 8th. Now, I do channel by writing, and I did actually type up this week's episode. So if you happen to glance at your phone, if your eyes are closed, once we kind of do the breath work and drop into it, and you see me looking down, that is why. So let's get into our theme. So our theme for this week, we are exploring today spiritual guidance for dealing with somebody who doesn't want to heal. I think we all probably know somebody like that. I think we all probably have been somebody like that at one point or another. So Spirit is coming through today. I always set the intention for the highest good of everybody who's going to watch these videos and what it is that we collectively as a group need to know. So that's what we are going to be looking at today. But before we do, I want us to just kind of drop in with our breath, as always, to just drop into the pocket, into the vibration, the frequency of receiving, and really opening ourselves up to these messages and allowing yourself to receive them wherever they fit for you in your life. Take what resonates and leave the rest. All right, so I'm going to invite you to gently close your eyes now. You can have them open to a soft gaze if you'd like. Up to you, but I'd like you to start by taking some nice deep breaths in through the nose, holding at the top, and then exhale through the mouth, release. And again, breathing in through the nose, nice and steady, find your center, holding at the top, and exhale through the mouth, release. And once more, anchoring yourself into your field with your inhale, breathing in, holding, and exhale, release. Allow yourself to return to your regular pace of breathing. Nice, gentle inhales. Soft, deep exhales. And allow yourself to drop right into your heart chakra, heart center, opening up those ear chakras for listening and receiving and hearing these words of wisdom. Deep breath in once more. And exhale. Release. Beautiful. So you are welcome to keep your eyes closed for the duration of this video. If you'd like to open them now to a soft gaze or start to watch the screen and watch me while we talk about this topic, that's fine. It's up to you. I want you to be nice and comfortable with wherever you're at today. So spiritual guidance for dealing with someone who doesn't want to heal. The first thing we're going to discuss are reasons why someone might not want to heal. So one of the running themes that I've come across in my own healing work and personal journey is there can be comfort with the discomfort. As challenging or heavy as this person's situation might seem to be, if they're not really making any active changes or efforts to try to do anything about it, to to change their situation, if there's not really, you're not seeing a lot of effort, or you're seeing a pattern here, it could be that they're very comfortable with this situation because they've been in it for so long, regardless of how healthy or unhealthy it might be. And when I talk about why, like someone who might not want to heal, that could be from anything. That could be somebody with a health issue, that, you know, there could be illnesses or diagnoses that, you know, are really heavy or really terminal, or there are no cures from. I'm talking more here today in our short 20-minute segment about somebody who has maybe chronic pain or some kind of ailments that, you know, maybe there is nothing out there that will cure them 100%, but perhaps there are little things that they could be doing, whether it's changing their diet or trying different things, just little things that they could be doing that they're choosing not to do. Or if you're having suggestions, let's go for a walk, let's do this, no, I'm just gonna stay home, what's the point? Like that kind of energy. So we're gonna keep it there. And it could also be someone who doesn't want to heal. It doesn't have to be from anything physical. It could be old patterns, it could be relationships, and it could be challenging situations that they are in. And again, there can be situations that, you know, life is not so cut and dry, black and white. There are a lot of gray areas. There can be situations where you can't just up and leave, but there are little things, little glimmers of light, or perhaps little opportunities that come in for them, and they choose to still not maybe take them or explore them. And again, that could be comfort with the discomfort. There also could be an element of fear, right? Fear of what their life would look like if this issue or problem or situation were to resolve itself or to get better, because they've been living a certain way or with this situation for so long that there's fear around their identity, or because perhaps their identity has got wrapped up in this, right? It's wrapped up in that, and they don't know who they are without this, maybe this illness, this ailment, this situation, this relationship, this pattern, etc., this job, things like that. Another reason why somebody might not want to heal. Now, this is true. This does happen. It could be that they feel that they get more attention or sympathy in their current state, and to heal would mean that they wouldn't get the same level of attention, whether that's if you are maybe elderly and your adult children are spending more time with you or visiting you more, or your family, like that kind of thing. There are actually situations where I have seen and heard about that happening. So that's another reason why. There's also the pattern energy line of victimhood, right? Playing, like we all play different roles or can play different roles. And this person could be very, very comfortable playing the victim. And again, getting some sort of, energetically at least, some validation over people feeling bad for them or sorry for them or pitying them. So if they were to actually do something about their situation or try to do something about their situation, that would flip the frequency and put them into one of empowerment or self-empowerment. And if they like what comes with the victimhood, or they've been so comfortable in that role for so long, or they, you know, saw their parents do it, so now they emulate that kind of thing, it could be really hard to break out of that for them. So another reason could be not ready to take accountability for the role that they play in their own suffering. So it's easier to blame other people. It's easier to blame their parents, their spouse, something that happened 20 years ago. It's easier to blame that. And there might be certain things that have happened that have caused certain things that have been outside of their control. But then it gets to a point where if somebody's experiencing something for years and years on end, and it's sort of just like they're circling the drain and it's a pattern, it's kind of like, what is the common denominator here? Like, you do have an option, believe it or not, to take your power back, to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Take a good look in the mirror at yourself and your life, taking accountability for the chaos that you are creating or co-creating or contributing to. And the things like that too are also like your words, always being very mindful of your words. Like nothing ever works out for me, nothing ever goes my way, I never get what I want. Like being very mindful of what's coming out of your mouth and what you're co-creating within your sphere of your consciousness in this realm of what you're co-creating, what you're calling in, and what you're kind of just regurgitating day in and day out. So taking accountability for the role they play in their own suffering. They might not be ready to do that, and it might just simply be that they are not at a level yet of consciousness of evolving that they're ready to do that. Okay, I'm going to read this next point because I think it's really important. So I'm going to read it right off the page. So higher perspective, some people are not here to have a divine healing or growth in a spiritual way in this lifetime. There is an opportunity for them to do so if they wish, but it's possible that their soul has chosen to have a lifetime where they are in their own suffering. When they cross over, they can have full understanding of what it means to live out an entire lifetime in this illusion, and they can choose to have it as part of their learning and Akashic experience so that their soul in a future incarnation may choose to empower themselves by living differently, like choosing to incarnate and experience both sides of the coin. It could be a balance for their soul to experience a lifetime where they do not take responsibility for their suffering, and it could be a soul contract between the two of you, meaning you and the person that you're experiencing this with, where you are learning how to let go and let someone have that experience without interfering, and they are learning subconsciously through you what a template looks like for someone who is actually doing the healing. So it could be a little bit of mirroring going on, or yeah, very interesting. We'll get into the mirror thing in a little bit. That's another point that I'm going to be making. So the next one, super important, the universal law of free will that everybody has when they come here, when they incarnate and get into a body. There is the universal law of free will. You can have soul contracts, you can have soul blueprints, you can have Akashic things, you can have, people that you are predestined to meet or cross paths with, but every individual has free will to a certain extent, right? It's a base level law in the universe. So to interfere with that, meaning to try to help somebody heal, right? Or really trying to help somebody heal when they're clearly not wanting to heal or make changes, or they're not open to your suggestions. To interfere would be to impede on their own personal journey and process, and does not actually serve them or their highest good. They won't be inclined to hold themselves accountable if they don't have to. Okay, so now we're going to get into the mirror stuff. So look in the mirror. Reflect on times in your life where either you weren't ready or didn't want to heal. Respect the process, meaning their process. I believe we've also all had other lifetimes where we have played different roles at different levels of consciousness, and it took us time to want to heal, even if we don't remember it. We had to want it for ourselves. Now, that could have been an experience you've had in this incarnation, but it could have been other lives too, especially when you're maybe a newer incarnated soul, like that kind of thing. So there are also people who seem to try to do anything to get better, but nothing works. Sometimes they are genuinely trying, and genuinely I do think it's someone's just oh, nothing I'm doing is working out. It's just sometimes there's just a bunch of shitty things happening at once, despite the person actually genuinely trying, and you can call it a stroke of bad luck or whatever you want to call it. But sometimes there are just certain situations that just, no matter what you do or how hard you try, things are not working out. But sometimes they're doing it just because somebody wants them to, come on, come to the doctor, come on, I'll drive you. Or to create, and sometimes they'll agree because, somebody, to just appease their loved one, right? Somebody's trying to get them to help themselves. Or it's to create the illusion that they're trying. See, I did go to the doctor, I did try, see, yeah, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do this. I'm not gonna get this checked out. I'm not gonna, I'm gonna do nothing about it and let it get worse. But it's an inner vibrational knowingness that you will have and that you do have already. Everybody has it. It's just a matter of being in tune with it. It's an inner vibrational knowingness that you will have that they truly do not want to get better or do anything to improve their circumstances. And the greatest revealer of this, nothing trumps this, is time. If you've been experiencing this, watching this from the outsides for months or years or a lifetime of just somebody repeatedly going through things and not doing anything, not actually wanting to heal or get better. They might say that they do, but their actions don't show it, that kind of thing. Okay, so next we're going to get into tangible spiritual advice for how to deal with this. Lovingly detach with firm boundaries. Decide when you will or won't engage with the person when they are displaying behavior of victimhood, wallowing, or continuing to complain about their situation without actively trying to do anything about it / wanting to get better. Number 2, stop rescuing them from their own demise. Again, with boundaries, decide how much, if any, you are willing to assist and know where to draw the line. Allow them to live in the illusion of the creation of their own suffering and the responsibility of how they choose to handle what's going on for them. Zoom out as a higher perspective. See if you can have any empathy or compassion for them on a soul level, as another soul having an experience that is ultimately serving their highest good, whether we can see that, understand that, or agree with that or not, but not an imbalance to the point where you start to blur the lines, feel bad for them, enable the behavior, and start to try to rescue them and come out of your own self and not take care of yourself. Use it as an example or a reflection in your own life. What areas do you still have, if any, some resistance to looking at or healing? In what areas, if any, do you avoid exploration / have not been ready to heal? Can you have gratitude? This is the next point. Can you have gratitude towards them for being a mirror to you for your own areas of growth in terms of what you might be avoiding, as well as gratitude for them for teaching you how to lovingly detach and allow someone else to have an experience, whether we agree with it or not? They are really teaching you how to master your own consciousness in terms of loving detachment and honoring another person's journey, no matter how difficult or challenging it can be to be on the sidelines of that. And then the very last point we have for this is heart-centered closure. Coming to terms with the fact that they are consciously choosing this, and acceptance that you cannot interfere with their creation or their journey. You can send them light and hope that they do, but ultimately that is the only power that you have. Okay, wow, that brings us to almost the end here. We just have a couple minutes left. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for joining me. I really think this is a really, really important topic, and a lot of people that are maybe like very spiritually aware, you can use the word awakened if you want. It can be really hard for us once we start to go down this path and become aware of our own stuff. When we see it start to play out in others, we tend to really want to just like rescue them and like drag them into the healing pool with us and like, come on, it's great. But I mean, it is hard, but it does get great after you've worked through some things and shifted some things. But yeah, you gotta respect the process. And another thing to remember too is if before you were ready to start your own healing journey or awakening process, when you were not ready, think about this. Would it have been helpful to you to have somebody trying to sway you into this stuff, to sway you into maybe some shadow work stuff or meditation or therapy or journaling or whatever it is that you have done in your own healing journey? You had to come to it yourself. You might have had suggestions from people, sure, but you didn't have anybody like even if somebody suggested and drove you to an appointment and you went to an appointment, you still had to end up doing the work yourself and carrying the boat yourself. So just think about how if that would have happened prematurely for you, you might not have been as open to the process overall. Okay, that's it for me. I'm going to run out of time here. Thank you so much for watching. Please comment, like, share, subscribe if this content resonates for you. And I will see you back here next week for episode 10. Have a wonderful rest of your week. Ciao!